Hey guys, my name is Swrinny and in this video I am going to talk about the 11 things you need to know while playing the fairy tale game. The subjects I will be talking about are based on all the questions I received via your comments on previous videos and via Discord. So even if you are aware of some of these points, please take peace in knowing that they will still help others. Now before we start, I really want to thank all of you for supporting the channel and all the interaction we had on the previous videos. Every day I've spent about 2 hours to reply to all comments and it's been great interacting with you all, so please keep on doing that. Now without further ado, let's get to the 11 points. Let's start with the story. Contrary to what a lot of people think, the game does not end after the Tartarus arc. Yes, the game credits do start to roll after you complete it, but there is still a story chapter waiting for you afterwards named the Epilogue. This chapter covers the 1-year time skip in which Natsu and Lucy are looking for a way to get the guild back together. Once the guild has been brought back together, that is when the game's story truly ends and the endgame can begin. Second, there are misconceptions about the game's difficulty. Now, there are 3 difficulties in this game. You've got easy, you've got normal, and you've got hard. And honestly, it really does not matter on which difficulty you play. You don't get extra experience, you don't get extra money, rewards, or achievements for playing on higher difficulties. You can always change your difficulty on the fly through the settings menu, even while you are out on the field. You do not even need to restart the game after doing this. I will say this though, if you are the type of person to complete all side missions before finishing the story, kind of like I did, you may want to consider bumping the game's difficulty up because it's really easy to overlevel, and once you are overleveled, even the boss fights will become a cakewalk. Now let's talk about the maximum level and stats. The maximum level for each character is 99, but after completing the story you can use the magic foundation growth to reset a character back to level 1. When you do this, the character will start with way higher base stats, so when the character reaches level 99 again, he or she will be way stronger than before. I am not sure how many times you can do this, but after 2 times most of my characters were already near or at the 999 cap on the base stats, so it doesn't really feel like a necessity to do it more than twice. And honestly, these stats are way more than enough to beat the hardest quest in the game on the hardest difficulty, so there really is no need to grind further. Missable things. Don't you just hate it when you play a game and it turns out you missed something really cool that you cannot obtain anymore? Well, thankfully you don't really have to worry about it in Fairy Tail because nothing is missable. You will be able to backtrack to all areas apart from Tartarus, and even that's not an issue because the loot chest in Tartarus only contains consumables that are not unique. Think of these things like healing, mana or revive potions. Breaking the obstacles. Just like our previous point about missable things, please do not worry about missing out on breaking the obstacles in each map. At the start it can be really difficult as you will most likely only find 1 encounter near the obstacle, your characters are really weak, and your party only consists of 3 people. Now after the Grand Magic Games arc you unlock a beautiful thing called a link hunt. And using the link hunt will allow you to fight multiple groups of enemies at once, and you can start this fight from anywhere on the map. So a really good strategy is to max out the fairy gauge on the bottom right, which is regular encounters. Then you activate Link Hunt and you start a magic chain of attacks. If you are still lacking damage, have Wendy buff the group or pay a visit to Kanna's drink bar for some extra buffs. Now as you might know, there are currently 16 playable characters in the game. You start out with Natsu and Lucy, and new characters will be unlocked once you complete 3 of their character stories. Wendy, Gray, Erza, Juvia and Kajil are unlocked first as part of the story, and after the Grand Magic Games, during chapter 7 you will find the following characters in your guild hall: Sting, Rogue, Kagura, everyone's favorite handsome boy Ichiya, Sharia and Jalal. After the Epilogue chapter you will find Mira Jane, Lexus and Gildarts in your guild hall. Now the funny thing about Gildarts is that he actually has a pretty difficult boss fight as one of his character stories, so make sure that you do come prepared for that. Unlocking outfits. You can unlock at least 2 alternative outfits for each character. One being a swimsuit that unlocks during the Grand Magic Games, right after the swimming pool cutscene, and one being the alternative color that unlocks after upgrading a character to rank 4. You can upgrade a character to rank 4 by visiting the guild ledger in your guild hall, and if upgrading a character is still locked, you will first need to do the character stories for the character in order to unlock a higher potential. Continuing on the outfits, there is actually a little thing going on with outfits and the special awakening forms of some characters. We don't know if this is a bug or by design just yet, but if you try to enter a special awakening form while wearing an alternative outfit, the character model does not really change according to what the awakening is supposed to look like. I will use Wendy as an example right now. So while she's wearing her Sky Sister outfit, she doesn't change, but in her default outfit she does get her Super Saiyan hair. Mind you that this only applies to the Dragon Slayers and Grey so far. This is just a cosmetic thing though, because the extra attacks that you unlock during those forms will still be available. Quest and request replayability. Requests with proper titles can only be completed once and they will not return to the quest board. The request with the title regular request, however, will return. There are always going to be 2 regular requests active for each guild rank, and later in the endgame there will be 2 more recurring tasks. These are the 10 years and 100 years quests. Now these 2 types of quests actually contain the story bosses you encountered before at a higher level, so while you are not able to replay any story missions, you can still continue to fight all the bosses through these S-rank quests later on in the game. Turning the battle animations on or off. Now, like in most turn-based RPGs, the attacks can get tedious at some point, especially if you're trying to farm materials or XP. Now normally you would go into the game settings to find an option to turn these off, but that's not the case in Fairy Tail. The battle animations can be toggled on and off with the click of one single button during a fight. Turning these off makes the fight and grind go a lot quicker, but some people have actually accidentally turned it off and are wondering how to turn it back on. Well, if you are in a fight, look at the bottom right side of your screen and you will find a button next to the text action sequence. Just press it once, try a new attack and you will see that the animation is back. Now we've arrived at the final point, finding ingredients. Throughout the game you will need materials to complete community service requests and creating equipable Lacrima items in your laboratory. And this laboratory is actually where you can find all the information you need about the required ingredients. If you hover over one of the Lacrima, you will first see which ingredients are needed for it, and if one of the ingredients that you're looking for is contained there, just look on the bottom right side of the screen and you will see a button that shows you the ingredient info. Just press this button once and you will just see the location and also which monsters will drop it. Now if you still have question marks on the screen instead of actual information, that just means that you either haven't been to that area yet or you haven't fought a monster that drops the item yet. And those are the 11 things you need to know while playing through this game, and I hope this video was helpful for you. Is there anything I missed in this video, or do you still have certain questions? Do not hesitate to let me know in the comments down below and I will try to address those as soon as possible. Also, there are 2 big things about this game that I have not covered yet in any of my videos, and those are the endgame and the DLC. I will be making separate videos on those subjects in the coming days, so please stay tuned for that. As always, I want to thank you all for watching, and until next time.
私のとっておきを見せてやろう。やれやれ、ほどほどにしてくれよ。俺の服どこ行った？やれやれ、ほどほどにしてくれよ。待てい。